Okay, so I'll start the meeting. Thank you, Book Brewers, for coming to this. This is the 7th of this year, isn't it? It's oh no, the 8th. Sorry, it's the 8th of this year. So, thank you, Pipit, for inviting me. Then I do remember that. Oh yeah, I still have I still have a Saturday meeting with you guys, but I'm so sorry, but because this last 7 months has been, well, actually, I'm also going to the cinema after this, but previous on the previous month, sometimes I go to the cinema since early in the morning because they have lots of event and then lots of good movies and especially summer movies as well. So, thank you for having me, and then thank you guys for coming. So, as oh, okay, wait a second. Yeah. Okay, so who wants to go first, presenting their book? Um,
Oh no.
I think this is the first time Okay, Steven, salam kenal. Do you have any book you want to share? Oh,
Hello.
hi.
Yeah, I'm number 4.
Number 4. Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Meaning you're the last.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe Donald, you want to go first with your book?
Okay, yes. By the way, the number in the WhatsApp group is not the order of presentation, so anyone can present.
That's why.
Yeah, but okay, I will present first. Thank you, Dias, for the time. Thank you, everyone, for joining this meeting. So for today, I would like to share a book titled The Hidden Habits of Genius. It is written by Craig Wright, PhD, Professor Emeritus of Music, Yale University. Why I chose this book? Because I'm interested in knowing what are the distinguishing characteristics of the genius. I actually haven't finished the book. I've read about 80% of it, but I want to share what I've read so far. And the key takeaways from me from the book is this genius. So first of all, there is a difference between genius and prodigy or even talented people. The author defines genius as someone who makes a big impact. So they must change the world. Prodigy is not necessarily genius because most prodigies just very good at mimicking other people's work. So for example, a prodigy in music, maybe they can play Mozart, but they don't have their own original work. So that is not a genius based on the definition. And talented people, similarly, maybe they have good talent or great talent or even high IQ, but if they don't have this big impact that change the world, they are not defined as genius based on this book. Now, the characteristics of the genius based on the author, there are several of them. So first of all, one of them is to imagine the world as a child. So they have this childlike wonder or imagination. They can visualize things and they have beginner's mindset. So they can see things with a fresh set of eyes. And then the second one is develop a lust for learning. So they have this passion for learning. And importantly, and this is what I like because it is very similar to what we do here at the Brewers, the author emphasized that we should be able to learn alone without a mentor. So we become self-learners, self-education. This is one of the traits of these people. Another one is they have this desire or the drive to work. They enter the state called flow. I think I shared that maybe last month about flow. So they lose track of time when they work. For example, Isaac Newton can be in this state for days, and his colleagues dare to disturb him when he was in this state and he was thinking alone. Another one is to have this ability to be different. So they have this rebellious attitude, but rebellious in a good way because they can change the world. But they have this contrarian thinking. So many people may misunderstand them. There are many geniuses who are misunderstood throughout their lives because of this. And another one is, and this is, I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, Dia's favorite book, Trains. One of the traits is,
Me too.
yeah, one of the traits is they know a lot about, not a lot, not necessarily a lot, but they know about a lot of things.
Mm.
They can cross-pollinate the ideas, they can combine things from different or disparate fields.
Mm.
Like Leonardo da Vinci. Oh, and one of them I forgot to mention is curiosity. Actually, is very important one. Curiosity is very important. Einstein once said that I'm not genius actually, but I'm just passionately curious. That's a quote from Einstein.
Mm.
And this is related to these traits. So they have the ability or knowledge about many things and they can connect this. So there are several of these. The ones that I think are resonate the most with me is the things about self-education, the parts about self-education, about curiosity, about persistence despite being misunderstood. But on the other hand, they are flexible. So if they know that something doesn't work, they are willing to change. In fact, there is one of the dangers. So genius are not perfect. They can make mistakes. For example, Thomas Edison, he had this bitter rivalry with Nikola Tesla about electricity, direct current or alternating current, DC or AC. And in this case, Edison made a mistake because so he insists so much on his solution. So that is one of the pitfalls that genius could fall into. Actually, not mentioned in the book, but I just remember Einstein also opposed quantum mechanics a lot. Eventually, quantum mechanics is proven to be correct, but Einstein opposed it at that time. So they have pitfalls like this, but they are contrarian, they have this conviction, they are risk takers, they are willing to be misunderstood, they can learn alone. Einstein learned a lot about the mathematics needed for the theories by himself, not taught in university. So this capability to learn alone without a mentor is one of the important traits. And think opposite is another trait. So they can think about two different things that seems to be opposite of each other. Again, an example of from Einstein is he came up with this theory with the light, is it a wave or a particle? These are two opposite things. But his theory, this is not his famous theory actually, but this is not relativity, this is another theory, photoelectric. He combined these two. So light is both a particle and a wave. This is a character of genius. They can combine things that seems to be opposite each other. Right, so those are the things that I learned from the book. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Donald. How about your personal rating towards this book? Does it reach 4 out of 5?
Yeah, if I were to give it a rating, it is a 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
It is insightful for me, especially because the definition of genius is not just prodigy.
More
That's
than
the,
prodigy.
yeah, insightful. And many stories actually in the book about Mozart, about so politicians, musicians, so many
Mm.
fields.
Okay. So thank you, Donald, for the presentation. Any questions, guys? Oh, welcome, Mbak Mita.
No, can I repeat what you said and let me know if there are something missing?
Uh, am I audible right now?
Yes, you are. Can you hear me, Diaz?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
sure. I
So
can
I would
hear.
like to repeat it to Donald and let me know if there are things I missed, Donald. Uh, Curious, learning alone, willing to accept mistakes or pitfalls, contrarian, persistent, beside, although being misunderstood, and what else? Is that all?
Curiosity
Already
already.
done?
Actually, there are maybe about 2 or 3 more, but as I mentioned in the beginning, I haven't finished the book. I still have.
Oh, okay. Please update us, yeah. I think it's interesting. I have an autistic student who I believe is prodigy now that I know the difference. Prodigy. And I would like to motivate him using this list of, things that if he wants to contribute to the society because he's being undermined by his friends, obviously. But he recently proved himself to be uh, worthy enough in a way that he joined an essay competition organized by Oxford University and he became top 5 finalists from all around the world during
Oh.
32,000 participants. So actually, I'm going to go to Oxford next week, next month because of him. So I'm going to reiterate what Donald said just now to him. Yeah, because it totally reminds me of him. Thank you, Donald.
Yeah, congratulations, Pete. I just remember one more thing. Actually, this is the chapter I'm still reading, but so I haven't shared about this. Another one is get lucky, but actually it is not get lucky like the title of the chapter. It's more you are prepared to seize opportunity when it comes. That is the content of the chapter. Like Fleming, people say he was lucky to invent penicillin, but actually it was because he had the training to notice what happened. One of the interesting things in the book is that most inventors, they don't experience a eureka moment, aha or eureka moment, but they experience something else.
Oh.
That is, what? That's strange. So they experience that strange moment. And because they have curiosity and persistence, they investigate this strange thing and they invent something new. So that is also something I learned from the book, not a eureka moment, but that's strange. And they have the capacity, curiosity, persistence to follow up on that strange thing.
So being observant,
Yes, being
being
observant,
observant.
yes, but with the preparation already in place.
Okay.
Because if you are observant but you don't know what you are looking at, then you cannot follow up on it, right? So you are observant but prepared also.
Okay, cool. Any questions? Mbak Mita, welcome. Maybe Stephen, do you have any questions for Donald?
I have a question.
Sure.
So what if we're not prodigy? So is it like by learning all of this doesn't mean we can be one? Or how does it what's the impact to us?
Yeah, actually it doesn't matter. In fact, the book says that most genius are not prodigy. Prodigy is a trap, according to the book. Instead of being an advantage, it is more like a trap because the people who are considered prodigy, they are accustomed to success and they are accustomed to doing something that mimic existing work. So they are good at existing theories, playing existing musical work. So it is like a trap because they are so accustomed to success. It is difficult for them to venture out to something unknown and accept failures. So prodigy is not a good thing. For genius, prodigy is a trap. That's why the title of the chapter here is avoid the prodigy bubble because prodigy is dangerous. And most genius are late late bloomers. I think that is the term used. So most of them are not prodigy. They become genius only later in life.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Can I
Any more?
ask why? Why are they late bloomers? Can I ask why?
Yeah, it's similar to the book range again, because they take the time to sample different fields, different things, and then they have the ability to combine this.
Mm.
And it takes time. So not early specialization, but they generalize first.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions from you, Pipit? All good?
No, thank you. I'm typing what Donald said just now.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question. I have a question.
Sure, sure.
So basically, if you say that it's late bloom, most of them are late bloomers, right? So basically, if you have a child, uh, not so bright at first, and it's possible for them to become a genius. Is that right?
Yes. In fact, the author is against most of the parenting methods these days that is called helicopter parents, something like that. The parents are so invested in the child and try to nurture this child in the proven way. Actually, the author is against that because they say that is not letting the child to take risk and to imagine, but they just take the proven path, and it is more difficult for them to accept failures. So yes, it is possible.
Mm.
Okay.
Any more questions from Stephen?
Mm, so what about, you know, most Asian parents? Yeah, especially Chinese parents. I I myself I am lucky enough because I wasn't raised by my mom or my father, but most of my friends, of course, they have this Chinese mother who always go to course, go to mathematic course, piano course. You have to study, and this child they become like a man child, or kind of like always suckle at their mother's teeth all the time. So, uh, but they are sometimes they become like a very very good, very, I don't know, what you call genius in there, but they become very very smart in civil engineering, chemical engineering, computer engineering. But yes, they don't become success. What do you say to that?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think that is a good way. Good is relative, but relatively good way to nurture the child on a proven path. So
Mm.
you are proven to have a good career and good education. And if you have good education, then you can apply to multinational company, something like that. So this is
Mm,
proven path. But the book is about genius. Genius is about the uncharted path. So it is different. That is a good way for the proven path, but not so much for the unproven path. For unproven path, like for example, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was basically abandoned and had to find his own way. So it's different. That could be a good way for the proven path. And most people are comfortable enough with the proven path because their peers just want the child to have the social status in society. Like genius, actually the opposite, they could be misunderstood. So it can be a disadvantage for the parent because the child is doesn't have the social status. It could be very late
mm,
before their genius can be recognized.
Mm.
I see. I see. Okay, thank you for the explanation.
Mbak Mita, any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to ask Donald a question. Okay, I think Mbak Mita is still loading. But Donald, because of the author is a professor in music, isn't it? Isn't Am I correct? Yep,
Yes.
he was. Yeah, he specialized in music. Is the book Does the book have any bias towards someone, towards any personnel or any geniuses in music, in the music field. Maybe the author talks a bit too much about, let's say, Beethoven, or does he apply the or does he fair enough to explain and then to bring up all those geniuses in the book?
Indeed, yes. I think that is one of the reasons why I like this book. It's very balanced.
Mm,
The book, the author talks about Mozart and Beethoven, but also a lot about Van Gogh actually, from painting,
oh,
about Da Vinci, about politicians.
mm,
So it's very balanced in my opinion. It's a good book.
oh, so it's range enough, yeah, for someone who has the background in music. Okay, cool. All right, I'll put this in my list. Thank you, Donald. Bamita, do you have any questions for Donald?
Yes, Dana, I'm sorry I missed the first half of your presentation. When you said that the genius usually are late bloomers, how old were they when they became the genius? And how old were they when people started noticing their geniuses? Thank you.
It, yeah, thank you for the question. It ranges a lot. I don't remember the exact age for this, but Einstein, I think about 25 or something. Van Gogh start painting at 29, start painting, but recognized as genius after his death. So throughout his life, he was not recognized as genius. Some musicians very late. I don't remember the exact. I think one of the name mentioned is Grandma Moses. I'm not familiar, but the author said she took music at about 60, at 60, something like that, quite late. Another one, J.K. Rowling, the author, Harry Potter. She got the idea for Harry Potter at 24, but took 5 years to write the first book. So 29 for the first book and rejected by many publishers. Stephen King, I don't remember the exact age, but he became a school teacher first and rejected a lot before got the first novel published.
Thank you. So it varies, yeah. Sometimes they die first. Sometimes it's as early as 20s. Sometimes it's like J.K. Rowling when she's older, like 60 or 50 or something like that, yeah. So, yeah. And you said that what is that there are some characteristics of these geniuses, but what made them genius? One definite and one profound character that differentiate these geniuses from the others. I mean, based on what you read, what do you think?
Yeah, there are several characteristics given in the book, but if I were to choose one, I think it's contrarian thinking. So they think the opposite of the world. Because if it is the same of the world, the same as the rest of the world, they are not genius, right? They are just following the crowd. By definition, because they change the world, they are contrarian. So this contrarian thinking is a characteristic of theirs. And they have the knowledge and the perseverance to follow up on that.
What about passion, Donald? So you said that about contradictory thinking. So they don't want to follow the trends. They want to be authentic. I think that's what you mean by the contradictory, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, contrarian thinking. So they can think in different ways from the others. So,
Like thinking
so for example,
out of the box, or even there is no box for them. They don't see the box.
that's one way to put it. There are so many examples. I think I'm running out of times because we still have other presenters. So maybe one more example. So like Einstein his way of thinking is very imaginative because with special relativity and general relativity is very counterintuitive, very out of the box. And another way is which has become familiar for us, Jeff Bezos, also one example in the book, think the opposite. Now we are accustomed to it, so we no longer think it's different. But Jeff Bezos at that time, for the first online store, he was thinking not to bring customers to the goods, but to bring the goods to the customers. The opposite. So people don't have to come to the store, but the goods will be sent to their houses. So that is actually opposite thinking. Now we are accustomed to that. Thank you, everyone. I
Thank
think I'm running out of
you.
time. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Thank you, Donald, for the book. Shall we go to the next? Repeat, would you like to go next?
Yes, sure. So, the book, still the series. I'm actually reading two right now. World War Two and World War Two Homefront. So there are two parts, but I'm now at my house. So I only brought one from Surabaya here. So because World War Two is such a prolific topic, and I have read not a lot, but I know World War Two. I teach it as well in my class. So there's nothing really new that I found from this book, right? And this is supposed to be for middle school anyway. But there are, because this book is using primary sources as their source. So I found interesting pieces about how people felt that time, basically. So that's the reason why I'm reading this, is because I've been following the series Witness to History, and then the next in line was World War Two. And the question, for example, what I learned from this is um, it was interesting how World War Two could have been avoided, but a lot of missed opportunities that time that countries somehow missed, yeah, or they didn't think would happen. So it's a combination between appeasement and isolation. Isolationism. Isolationism. Appeasement means tolerating what the Germans did that time, right? So the UK knew the Germans starting to get aggressive. They built their military to the point that it is so suspicious. But they decided to, oh, it's okay. They're not gonna invade us, like appeasement, basically. So until to the point, then it was too late when German decided to invade Poland. That was like the wake up call. It was a succession uh, between Poland and then attacking the neighboring countries, France, Belgium, and surrounding. Okay, so that was the appeasement. The isolation was isol. What's the actual word for it? Yeah, isolate.
I think that's the correct word. Isolationism. The US.
Isolationism. Okay, isolationism of the US, because I could not read my own writing. Isolationism of the US, so they did not want to get involved in the direct conflict that did not pertain themselves, basically. So although they give uh, artilleries or support in terms of weapons to UK, but they did not want to get involved directly. Obviously, that changed when Japanese had this delusion that they could beat the US in the Pacific, and thought like, okay, let's beat the navy of the US first. So by the time they are ready to attack back, it will be too late for them. So that's the delusion of the Japanese. So they attacked Pearl Harbor, and that marked the the entrance of the US in World War II. But in my opinion, it totally could have been avoided when, if the UK somehow could what is it called, could predict that Germany was really going to invade Poland. Okay, so they trusted the wrong person that time. So the prime minister of UK trusted Hitler, and that was wrong. And next one is a lot of nice things happen. For example, Nazi, obviously, with this their blitzkrieg, famously strategy, they do lightning raids, right? They uh, launch a lot of planes and then bombard the cities one after another. And actually, in UK countryside, one of this plane was shot down. Basically, this German plane was shot down, and they got caught in the tree. So the pilot survived. And then there was this diary entry when the person, the first time I saw a Nazi in my life. So there's a diary entry of this person seeing a Nazi for the first time, right? And then to my surprise, they actually helped this pilot. So they gave him all of the bandage, his wounds from the fire that happened in his plane and things like that. Even though a few minutes ago this pilot was trying to bomb them, so I found that that's a it's supposed to be highlighted, but it's amazing to me that I've never heard of this story before, of how these people in the countryside of Great Britain decided to help this Nazi pilot who was trying to bomb them a few minutes before. So I think it was very interesting reaction from these people. And then something that is interesting about the fall of Singapore, because that time Japan was trying to attack Singapore, right? So Singapore was somehow fortified by these British forces and all of these things. And the only reason why Singapore fell easily in the hand of the Japanese is because the British soldiers, or at least the generals that time, were too confident with their prediction. Again, being confident with their prediction, just like what happened to the Prime Minister Chamberlain about predicting what Hitler would or would not do. So basically, the generals were so sure that the Japanese would attack from the south and the east. So they centralized all of their artillery, everything that they need to defend the island from there. And you know what's crazy? They did not even allocate resources trying to intercept what movement the Japanese would do. So usually, the intelligence worked really hard, like the Enigma, all of these things, right? Against Germany, they didn't even try to do that to Japanese because they were so sure of their strategy. But then as it turned out, Japanese attacked from the north. And no one was in the north. So it was so funny to me that Japanese did not attack from the north, and all of the soldiers are like centered in the south and the east, totally at the opposite side of the island. So that's how the fall of Singapore become an embarrassment until now. It says embarrassment in the history of the Great Britain military. Yeah, a really miscalculation in terms of strategy. And then the next one is how Russia was so smart, in my opinion, that time at least. So Russia sensed that Germany was going to attack them, basically. But that time they were not ready to fight back, basically. So in 1939, they signed a treaty with with Germany, not to attack each other. There is such treaty. In my opinion, it was so funny. So they realized that if they attack me now, I'm not prepared just yet. So Russia contacted Germany first and signed a non-aggression treaty, basically. But while after signing a non-aggression treaty, they already know that Germany is going to attack them anyway, but it will give them time, several years, right? So during these several years after signing the non-aggression treaty, Russia built their military, basically, to get ready for German attack. And that's true. 3 years after that, or 2 years after that, Germany broke the treaty, right? And then they started to attack Russia, basically. But at this time, Russia, although not fully ready, but at least they were in a better condition than 2 years before. Yeah. So they lost only in the beginning, but the Battle of Stalingrad actually turned the win against the Germany that time. So after the Battle of Stalingrad, then Russia started to drive Germans out of their territory. But another important thing I think that time was because Germany also was so confident because they didn't think that it would take them long time to actually defeat Russia. So they thought it was going to be a quick. It's not going to be quick, but it's not going to be that long, basically. So they were not prepared to fight during winter time, basically. So they didn't think that actually the war would last until winter time. So they could have had a lot of opportunities to send backup clothing or something, all of this winter enforcement or winter preparations from Germany to their stations in Russia. But they did not do that because they didn't think that it would last until winter. And this is how the Russian soldiers actually were able to gain advantage because not only they're more prepared for the, they have adapted to cold, it's their home basically. So cold climate, but also they're more ready in terms of clothing, basically. And then a lot of German soldiers experienced frostbite. So of course, yeah, it made them unable to fight to the fullest. So that's another interesting thing. Basically, there are a lot that I found here, but the main idea that I found is don't be too confident with our prediction. I think probably that's the overarching idea be under this. I mean, not under from this book is because one pitfall after another was caused by they're not being prepared or they're too confident with their predictions, I would say. So that is my takeaways and my personal rating to this book is actually 4. Actually, the book is really good for those who have not read about World War II. But since I have read few times about World War II, so for me, very minimum new things that I learned. So I give a rating 4 out of 5. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, thank you, Pipit. So this is not your first book about World War II, right? So meaning that when you read this book, you get another new things, but does does it mean that it doesn't meet your expectation when you're reading this book? Is it kind of?
Um, I already expected that there will be nothing new here, but I'm lucky to have read it because there's a lot of point of view. The part about being too confident, it was reinforced by the fall of Singapore, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know about the Chamberlain being too confident, it was very famous. But the fact about the one Japanese being delusion about the Lulu, as the current generation call it, about US also famous. So the fall of Singapore is something new for me. So there's another,
Mm-hmm.
added information to the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, that's those mini things that I appreciate. So it's still pretty good to me.
So good. So thank you, Pipit. Any questions? Maybe from Ronald or Mamita or Steven is step away in 15 minutes. I think it's currently briefing his team. Yes,
Maybe
Ronald.
Stephen first. Maybe Stephen first because Stephen is leaving, right? If Stephen want to ask something.
I don't know if Stephen
He's
is
away. He's away.
already because he's currently briefing his team, I guess.
Okay, so I will ask. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. Can you repeat? So one of the themes is overconfidence, as you give example, Singapore and others. My question is, based on what you have read so far about World War II and history in general, how do you balance between overconfidence and risk-taking? Because one example that I remember, but this is not from World War II, this is from Korean War. In Korean War in 1950, the North almost wiped out the South. The South is only only have one corner in Busan. And then the American General MacArthur decided to take big risk to cut to Seoul. So they don't push step by step, but cut directly to the heart. And it was successful, but it was very risky. If it failed, then the entire operation could fail. But it was successful. So how do you balance between overconfidence, being too cautious, and still taking risk? What is the right balance in your opinion?
Okay, risk taking is such an interesting concept to me, because if you're successful, no one give you compliment. You get what I mean? So if you are a risk taker, and then somehow after taking a risk and you become successful, people attribute that to you're just being lucky. Yeah, but if you mess up because of taking a risk, the first thing people do is actually blame you. Ya kan, what did I say? Of course it was stupid. You took the risk and like that. So I think people who would like to take a risk are incredible. A lot of people actually have to take a risk before they become successful, right? A lot of this capital adventurists and things like that, for example, they do take a risk or have to be able to do it. Elon Musk had to take a lot of risks. Um, ooh, how to balance? I'm actually not sure. But for me, think about the worst possible outcome, in my opinion. And then if I do this, what is the worst possible outcome? The worst case scenario that will happen. If I probably can handle the worst case scenario that will come out of it, then I will do it. Basically, if it's like the worst case scenario will be I will die, for example, then after logical prediction, educated guess that I will probably die from this or something, then I probably will not do it. Something like that. So yeah, for me, I'll think of the worst case scenario. What will happen if I take this risk? Then it will help me. Um, it will help me decide whether it's worth doing or not. Now, I would like to probably add it to my personal decision, for example, related to my student earlier. I talk about. So it's not worthy to be called a huge risk, actually. It's not worthy, in my opinion. However, um, I started to teach this autistic kid 5 months ago. Yeah. So he's been changing teachers every several weeks because he got rejection one after another, one after another. And I understand why a lot of these teachers give up, because I was about to give up myself. It's just so hard to choose these kids. And then he cannot, what is it called? He doesn't have anger management skill. So he would lash at you, and I'm the teacher. He would yell at me and things like that. But he had no control of that after that. So I teach him every Monday. And whenever Monday comes, I will think of, oh my goodness, it's time to teach that kid. It's time to teach that kid. It's already stressful even before I meet him. I teach him every 6 to 8 p.m. every Monday. And at 5 p.m., I'm already stressed. Oh my, time to teach that kid. Okay. And actually, last week, before the announcement of the tournament, I was about to give up, actually. I was prepared to tell his mom that I cannot continue teaching him for my own mental health, something like that, right? So I even talked to my friend, how do I say this? I feel sorry for them. They get rejection one after another, all of these things. But then I decided not to tell them. And then 5 days after that, this announcement that he became the top 5 essay in this Oxford competition came 5 days or 4 days after I wanted to give up. So that became, to me, it was worth sacrificing all of those time and stresses. And I got a direct answer from God, probably, that, just about I was about to give up. somehow this achievement actually came, and then because of that, I'm going to Oxford next month. So imagine if I gave up like a month ago, that I did not teach him how to write essay and stuff, right? So I would not go to UK. So I think that's the risk here is, what is the worst possible thing that could happen is, if you think you can handle it, I think it's worth doing.
May I know how old is he or she?
14.
14. So
Mhm.
teenager, yeah. Consider
Teenager.
teenager. Okay. Thank you, Pipit. So all those
Oh,
mental
by the
breakdowns.
way, thanks to
Mm-mm.
Donald, because the essay was about AI, and
Uh,
then I used 21 lessons from the 21st century as one of the references, and co-intelligence. If you guys know the book Co-Intelligence, we use that as a reference, and then yeah. So thank you, Donald.
Congratulations.
so Pipit, all those mental breakdowns starting at 5 o'clock did have a great results in the end then. Thank you, Pipit. And Bamita, do you have any questions maybe for Pipit?
Okay. I have two. The first one regarding the World War II. So, because of their war, Indonesia became a victim as well. We were colonized for 350 years just because the Europeans have their egocentric, Caucasian, European minded, and we became the victims. And 350 years were not short terms, they were too long. And now we're just beginning to survive, and we already face the pandemics, the economic crisis, the global conflicts. So my question is, Pipit, as a citizen of Indonesia or as a person who lives here, who were born here perhaps, what should we do when there is a third world war so we don't become a victim again? That's my first question.
Mm, Kak Mita, our independence was the direct result of World War II, right? So after we were under Japanese occupation, right, in 41, 45, and then because the U.S. beat Japan, then we had the opportunity to declare independence. So if that did not happen, probably will be like Singapore, who get their independence in the 70s, right? 70s, Singapore? 70s, right? Something like that. 65? Yeah, okay, 65. So it's a complicated moment here, whether we should be grateful or not with this World War II for some reason. Yeah. So yeah, it's a very controversial topic here, because we as Indonesians sometimes we like to feel, of course, yeah, a little bit biased. We biased that we talk about how we fight for our independence. Actually, it was a combination between fighting for independence, yes, but also luck, sheer luck, basically. So there's a chain reaction that make us able to declare independence. Number one. Third World War. Actually, I'm one of the optimists who thinks that World War III will not happen, at least in my lifetime. So I still believe in the power of the mutually assured destruction, MAD, that was brought by atomic bombs. So if only there's a country crazy enough, such as North Korea, for example, who doesn't really care for the impact of this, then I don't think World War III will actually happen. If, yeah, here's the thing. Russia said that we will not drop the atomic bomb first, but if the opposite do it, then we'll be ready. That's what Russia said. Okay, so US, I don't think they will. Yeah, I don't think they will. So who else will drop the bomb? Maybe most likely a rogue nation, such as North Korea or Iran, if they did have some. Right? Only what, Israel? I don't think. Right? So in my opinion, maybe North Korea will be the Root Nation, who will drop the third atomic bomb in history. But even when that happened, they will be obliterated by the time that happened, before it reached uh, the level of becoming World War III. So just pure from the logical standpoint, I don't think World War III will actually going to happen.
Okay, let's hope and pray
Oh, but
because
although wars keep on
history
happening,
teaches
yeah.
it repeats itself.
Yeah, yeah, miss. But then, wars here and there, of course, yeah, but not to the scale of war, I think. That's just my opinion, yeah.
Want to
You
ask?
said that there's another question, Mamita?
I just want to comment on your experience with teaching a student with autism.
Autism.
Yeah, because my son is schizophrenic, and in my first book, The Miracles in You, actually, it's about my experience raising him as a single mother. And the endorser, my spiritual leader, Terry Moore, also the author of book Here Now One, he's American. He says that my book is talking about how I personally developed my divine DNA, raising a schizophrenic son. So, what I heard from your personal experience, Pipit, is that my son was adopted. Yeah. So, raising him as a single mother with his condition being schizophrenic, developed my DNA, divine DNA, which is an unconditional love, which every parent in the whole planet, including every mother's, whether it's adoptive mother or it's a biological mother, necessarily to have. So thanks to your autistic student, now you already have the most necessary character as a mother, as a parent, that every children, whether they're adoptive, whether they're biological, whether they're students, how old they are, even human being need. The basic need of human being is to be loved. And you have that unconditional love with it now. And that means that you are now, just like many other people, a mother for every children. So congratulations. I think that's my
Thank you, Kak.
comment. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mamita, for the questions, and thank you, Pipit, for sharing your book. Maybe Mamita, would you like to go next?
It's my turn now.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. We talk. So I think from PPTs to my presentations is like a bridge talking about love, because the book here by Marianne Williamson is called A Return to Love. And actually, what she's talking about is about the agapic love or spiritual love, which is the unconditional love, the love that unconditional, we need nothing in return, which is so hard. It's easier to write a book about it rather than to do it. I mean, I promise you I can still even do it. Yeah, but the thing is, by reading this book, I become reminded that actually the world was created by God because of His love for us. Yeah, it's a concept introduced by a great philosopher and Sufi Ibn Arabi. He said that the world was created by God with Nafas ar-Rahman. Nafas ar-Rahman is an Arabic term meaning breath of compassion, breath of love. Meaning that we as a human being, that if we want to create something, it has to be become because of passion. And I think Donna said about genius. I think what these geniuses also created that make them genius is because they were drawn with passion. to create what they created, like E equals MC square, or the books by J.K. Rowling, or the music by Mozart, or the paintings by Van Gogh. They're all passion. Yeah. So I think this is what Marianne Williamson is trying to tell us, that whatever we do, whatever we are, we need to return to love, because this is what she said. Love does not conquer all things, but it does set all things right. So when we do things because of love, everything will be right. Yeah, that's what she said. And there are some lessons here that I love about this book. Is about the concept of surrendering to love, or surrendering to God. Because Islam itself, I learned when I was in elementary school, means total submission, total surrendering. But I never really understood what that means until I read this book. Marianne Williamson, she's a Jewish woman, but she became a book author, like 13 books, and she also a spiritual lecturer. And she became Christians, I think, after she read a book called A Course of Miracles. It's a spiritual psychology book, and that's why now she teaches a lot of times in churches and gives lectures in churches. She said on page 27 that to surrender to God means to let go and just love. By affirming that love is our priority in a situation, and we actualize the power of God. We literally use our minds to co create with God. Love is energy. It's not something we can perceive with our physical senses, but people can usually tell you when they feel it and when they don't. When they don't. We can hardly even imagine a world in which all of us were in love all the time and with everyone. There would be no wars because we would not fight. There would be no hunger because we would feed each other. There would be no environmental breakdown because we would love ourselves, our children, and our planet too much to destroy it. There would be no prejudice, oppression, or violence of any kind. There would be no sorrow. There would be only peace. So I think this is the purpose of Marianne Williamson teaching us about the return to love. And there's a lot more. She said that what we need to do is to shift our gear from the gear of fear to love, because God is not the author of fear. You are. We are. So the shift from fear to love is a miracle. It does not fix things on the earth. It addresses the real source of our problems, which is always on the level of consciousness. The only real problem is a lack of love. To address our world's problem on any other level is temporary, a fix but not a healing, a treatment of the symptom but not a cure. So, what we need is love in our mind, because love in your mind produces love in your life. And this is the meaning of heaven, heaven on earth. So, she basically what she says is that all the problems in the world can be cured if we start returning to love as our foundation. And for example, I'm overthinker, yeah, because whatever I do, I worry about the negative consequences. Just like Pipit said, I'm the same. I always think the worst scenario first. But actually, when you return to love, when you start having this negative thinking or fear, you just surrender. Yeah, you do your best, you pray, and then you surrender because the results are not ours to see. We detach for the outcome, yeah, from the outcome. What we need to do is to be love, just be love, just to do love, be kind. We don't even need to do kindness every day, but just be kind person as much as we can. Do small things with great love. And I think that's what she says. And for everyone, it's different. This book was recommended by Oprah Winfrey, and she said that after reading this book, Oprah Winfrey experienced 137 miracles in her life. So after experiencing all the miracles, she bought 1,000 copies of this book and gave them away for people who are close and dear to her. And even for me, it's a miracle because when I open the page, it just addresses my problem at that moment when I was reading the book. There are some books like that. When you have a problem, you open the book and you read a page, and that's the answer that I was looking for. And this is one of the books that kind of like helps you and guides you to face your problems and give some options. And this is another one about um, let me see what else I want to say. Let me see. Okay. Yes, there are the God's will. So what she recommends us every day, even every second, before we do anything in life, we ask for the universe or God's will. God, where would you have me go today? What would you have me do today or this second? What would you have me say? And to whom? So it's like we always have to be connected to the source of love for the answers in our problems. So we don't choose the wrong path. Even if we do have the detour, we will go back to the right path. And it teaches us to listen to our conscience, yeah, because there are times in our lives when we are in doubt, when we are in fear, and the answers are not unfolding in 1 second. Sometimes it takes days, months, even years. But this is the reason when we go back to the source to love, that we will choose the best answer for us, the best course of actions for us, the best words for us to say, and to whom. And at the end, everything will be okay. And Marian Williamson has been helping people with AIDS. She's like creating a food angel network, like cooking food and sending the food to people with HIV who are very ill, so they cannot take care of themselves. And she's just, because of believe in love, she can gather all the sponsors, all the money, and all the people to do this. So this movement of love is not like a, what do you call it, bullshit, but it does make a difference. Even she was a candidate for presidential campaign 2024, and she raised like $1 million, less, a lot less than Kamala Harris. But because of her, she was the first one that think all the Democrats need to unite, because Donald Trump being a president is so dangerous for the world, not just for the country, but for the world. So I think she's a brave woman. And I think this book, The Return to Love, is just one of the beginning, because I also listened to the audiobook of The Law of Divine Compensation. That's how the money and the finances work in terms of spirituality. There is about politics of love, how a politic or government should be running in terms of spirituality perspectives, and there are many other books. I think that's all from me. So I will give the return back to Diaz, our moderator, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mbak Mita, for sharing the book. Any questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna ask Mbak Mita whether do you feel like this book really glorifies love, but what I mean with love is love between each person. So not love between a person and God, or love between a person, for example, and their pets. Yeah.
Thank you for your question, Diaz. Um, when we talk about love for God, one of the belief that has been taught in Sufism is that there is a kingdom of God within every one of us. So when you love God, the first thing I believe is you need to love yourself first. That's the most important thing. And how do we love ourselves? Uh, there are many things that we can do to love ourselves. Starting from the basic for me is to pray. I think when every morning I make my own coffee, I go out to my balcony, I pray and meditate while drinking coffee or after I drink my coffee. At that moment, I feel one with God. I feel connected and I can talk about everything, all my sadness, all my problems, all my anxiety, and I surrender all my problems to God and I let go because and I do what I can. Yeah, it can be just uh, talking to somebody or it can be doing one action. I just limit myself to one action in a day. First, when I get it done, then I next to the next action. I move to the next action. So that's, I think, the greatest love of all is self love. And then after that, because in everyone around us, there's God within them too. So we need to love people who are near or close in our hearts. For example, like I have a son, he doesn't live with me anymore because now he's 20, but I communicate to him every day uh, from the simple thing like we talk about the what do you call it the YouTube videos that are making fun of Kamala Harris, for example, and we just laugh about it. But we both know that she's a good president candidate, yeah. And we talk about the language courses that he's taking. Like now, he's learning Chinese. We talk about the daily situation in his place now with his father and the family of his father, about the grandparents being old, having dementia, and the grandmother having broken bones and stuff, because it's something that for children they cannot imagine that those things happening to them. And as a parent, I can explain that's a natural process of life, that you become old and you're aging, and at the end, you have to face those problems. And your part is to be able to help them in this situation. So that's the kind of love I show to others, because I know in everyone, including in my son, there is God in them. So when we want to love God, love ourselves and love others, and also there is God in animals. There is God in trees. There's God in our house, our car, because they were created because of the inspiration that were given by God. So we need to take care of everything. That's why I don't like having so many things unless they are books, yeah, or their clothes, yeah. because to take care of these little things is necessity. We are responsible. I prefer to take care of people, animals, plants rather than things. Yes, so that's how we love God. Yes, I hope that answer your question. Thank you.
Yeah. So meaning that the book really about love, glorifying about.
In a
Okay.
positive way. Sometimes
Mm.
glorifying sounds negative.
Mm.
So glorify in a positive way. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mbak Mita. Any more questions? So far, so good. Okay. Thank you, Mbak Mita, for presenting the book.
My
So,
pleasure. Yes.
so, Stephen just
Yes, we cannot hear you.
Diaz, I think there is a message from Stephen in the chat room.
Not hear us.
He's not presenting his book.
yeah.
Yes.
Hello, hello. Check, check.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Stephen had to go.
Yeah, yeah. I already replied to his chat actually.
Ah, that's why she was typing, guys.
I
All
said
right.
thank
How
you,
about you, Diaz?
Stephen. Okay,
Are you
so I think
presenting?
it's about time for me to present my book. I'm gonna show you. Check, check. Ah, okay. Sorry, I got muted. So, I think it's about time for me to present my book, but I'm afraid that it it will be. I'm afraid that you'll get bored because I'll be talking about customer service. It's kind of related to my current work. So I'm going to present this book. A second, yeah, I'll show you the book. So the book is very theoretical about customer service, but it's kind of helping me in a way to get a new point of view of what customer service means for industry that will need or that will benefit from a great customer service. The book called Tool Factory Theory of Customer Service, a comprehensive, easy to read guide for increasing profits. So, my key takeaways from this book is that this book actually um, brought something new regarding customer service is the terms of superior customer service. So from this book, I get kind of a new information that um, this book actually used the term of superior customer service. This superior customer service meaning that it's not a typical or a regular customer service just serving people regularly, but it's about getting to connect with them. It's actually based on our psychological needs, which is needs to be understood, and this customer service point of view is going to fulfill that needs for every person who came to each industry to get the service. So the key takeaways is this term first is the term of superior customer service, which is a customized customer service, and it's a bit challenging because for me personally in the cinema, what I gather so far is we need a very quick, like you cannot talk too long for someone who's going to cinema because they're going they're going to watch movies anyway. But um uh again, um we cannot see or we cannot value each customer as only going to the cinema just to watch the movie. Sometimes they want to experience more than just watching a movie. They want, for example, they want to experience going to the cinema, or they want to experience going to the biggest cinema in their city, for example. So to tailor and to customize that kind of service, it needs more than just a regular research. It needs a more analysis, and then it needs a better observation of what kinds of the real situations is happening. So that's the first key takeaway points. And then the second um, is actually keep on repeating in every communication books or customer service books, is that when you get to connect with people and when they get to feel very happy and satisfied with the service, they will give you more money. They will give you more benefit, and they will come back for more. And that's what I think every industry would like to aim for, because they're looking for someone who keeps on coming back to them, instead of just feel their service once and then never came back. So that's the second key takeaways. And then my personal rating for this book is actually I will give 3.5. 3.5, because I had a bit of expectation when reading the title of this book, which is Tool Factory Theory. So I was expecting something like two major points, or two biggest components or elements that maybe it's been a blind spot for me for all these years, to have a look at a more, what do you call, a more specific customer service. But instead I get only one, which is a bit dissatisfied for me, but so far so good. And then what I like about the book is it's the book is very diverse. So the book puts lots of examples, not only from hotels and airlines, but they also put from restaurants, from hospitals, and even from the train services, transportation, um, which is very helping to see all these kind of stories, all these kind of point of views, to get more understanding towards customer service is. So I think that's it. That's what I can share about my book. Thank you. Any questions? Hopefully I can answer, because the book is pretty short. It's only 200 pages. Well, we've been reading books with 400-ish, and this is like half of it, but it's very practical, and well, for me, it's related to my work anyway. So,
Yeah, I have a question. Yes.
sure.
So can you give us examples about how to apply the principle in the book in cinema? Maybe ideas that are already implemented in cinema, or ideas that haven't been implemented, but use the principles from the book.
Mm. Okay, so what has not been implemented in cinema is the sapaan, is the greeting word for someone who comes to cinema. In hotel, because we do have the system, like for example, if Donald once come to, let's say, Shangri-La for staying, for example, for 3 nights on 1st August, they have their record and on their system that Donald came on 1st August for 3 nights. And then when he came back for the second, for example, end of this month, when you say your name, and then when they type your name, they will say, "Oh, Donald, welcome back." So meaning that they recognize you as someone who's coming, but not for the first time to Shangri-La. In cinema, we cannot really implement that, because first it will take a longer time, and then second, um, I think it's also related to Indonesians when they come to cinema on close to the show time, meaning it's very mepet to when the movie starts. So we cannot say that much of a greeting, because the customer wouldn't want to lose their first minutes of the movie, because anyway it's almost the very like the very first and the kind of the most important thing in the movie, isn't it? So it's a rush, but then somehow we need to implement that kind of um welcome back as well. So I haven't been able to find the right time nor the right greeting for saying welcome back, except when the customer is a member of the, let's say for the CGV, the member of CGV, and then when they claim their point, then that's when we know that, oh, it's their third time coming, or oh, it's their fourth time coming. Then we can say that, you've been here a lot, so I hope you. Then we can only say, I hope you enjoy your experience for this time as well. So it's kind of different, but I haven't been able um to find the right moment or the right greeting to present that kind of warmth or friendliness towards the customer.
I have a
I hope that
question.
answers. Yeah, sure, baby.
What are the strategies to deal with angry customers?
Are you okay? So for the angry customers, um, well, what do you um I think it's different between each and every one of us, but what do you wanna do when you're angry? I will ask you that questions. You wanna like do or you wanna yell, or maybe you want to just, I don't wanna say anything, I will just keep silence.
Um, I think it's not about me right now, like
Hmm.
the people who provide the service, but how to deal with something we cannot control, like people's customers' anger towards us or their dissatisfaction due to something sometimes it's not even our fault. Maybe I don't know, right? So, is there any strategies from the book dealing with such difficult interactions?
Oh, do you mean angry is the one who yells at you? Is that what comes
Yeah,
when
ranging
you?
from just sharp words, sometimes without
Mhm.
even being yelled at, like this is I'm not coming back. This is the last time. Like
Okay.
ada kapok kesini nggak bakal kesini lagi or something, right?
Okay.
Or all the way until full blown anger.
Mhm. So this book does not really goes to that like practical how to deal with. But what I can say from my experience is, when you deal with someone who's angry meaning that the angry yelling type of thing, yeah, when they shout, when they use high pitched voice, or when they, just snap at you and then pointing at you like that, is nothing to do except stay still. There's nothing we can do except stay still, and then just stay still, and then don't forget to breathe. That's two most important things when dealing with someone who's like wow 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 wow, like that. So just stay still and don't forget to breathe, because when you do move around, they will think that you're not serious um towards their concern. And second, if you forget to breathe, you might pass because then and then so that's two most important things. And then the other things is that well, this is again by experience, and also by, we can say, like by jam terbang, is that it's it's a must to instill in your mind that they are not angry at you, they are expressing their anger towards you but not at you. So that's the two um, two biggest points and two most important things about dealing with, because otherwise you will get baper and you will get sad, and you'll get, I don't want to do this anymore, and then lots of things might happen after that, those kinds of thinking. So yeah, then if you really cannot handle it, then it's time to go to your supervisor. That's it, because you have to know your limits as well when you're dealing with someone who gets very angry, or they will sometimes they use harsh words where you're even thinking, why do they even use this kind of words towards me? What did I do wrong? Something like that. But we cannot control those kind of situation. We can only control our gesture. We can only control our minds towards handling those kinds of situations. That's what I can answer about that.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bamita, do
Oh,
you have any?
yes, yes. Oh, thank you, Pipit. You just reminded what happened to me like almost a month ago. During Idul Adha, my parents went to my mother's hometown. I didn't. I was just in Jakarta taking a break after my book launch party. So I knew I was tired. I don't want to go out of town. But my father had an accident and he fell. So he had to be hospitalized. And all the children decided to go to my mom's hometown and to visit him. And I had to stay in the hospital for 1 week. And during the day, I could go to the hotel nearby, take a shower, just eat and sleep for like few seconds and then go back to the hospital again. And what Pipit just said happened to me. The what you call it, the front desk, the receptionist, the one that took care of the bills and everything, drove both my brother and me nuts because like the way they gave us invoices, the way they responded to our complaint, the way they responded to our emergency situation. We were not there for vacation or seminars. We were there because my father had an accident. It was an emergency. Everything has to be quick, 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 quick. And the room was so bad. It smells like shit. Literally, it smells like poop. Yeah, and smells like, and then the food, I mean, it was running out during the breakfast time, and the lock when my mom wanted to sleep at 12 a.m. in the morning, returning from the hotel, could not be locked. It was not working, so the door is open. The coffee machine when I had to drink coffee because I had to stay up in the hospital. It's not working. Everything was broken, and we had to move the room just like that. So everything, and then the bills that they're charging us for the things that we already paid in advance. Everything was a mess. Yeah. So I lost control. I lost my temper. My brother lost our temper, and the lady did not apologize, did not say, where did I do wrong? How can I improve this? How can I make this better? And nobody helped her until the HR manager came. Then I talked to the HR manager. My brother talked to the HR manager, and she could take care of the problems, and everything was solved. Until after I said that I don't want to go back here anymore, but just please have the Indonesian's Hotel Association certification of approval for your hotel, because I don't think your hotel meets the standard. So I think yes, for my experience is that if you face the customer, what I remember I taught the clients was that to apologize. Keep apologizing until you're dead, because that's what they want to hear. It doesn't matter if it's not your fault, just apologize. If it's somebody else's fault, apologize, apologize, apologize. And number two, if you cannot take it, move away. Give it to your boss. Call the HR manager, call your supervisor. You don't need to wait until the customer is angry, because at that time you're not competent. You know that you're not competent to handle her. But because what happened to me, the HR manager was competent to handle my problem. She just took book, 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 and the problem was solved. And then what happened after the problem solved? The receptionist cried because she was pregnant and the hormonal imbalance caused her to cry. And now I feel bad. And I go, she's pregnant, like 9 months pregnant or 7 months pregnant. So I don't think it's appropriate to put her in this position. I feel bad now. Yeah, it's not my fault that she cries, or because you don't cry when we complain to you. You took care of everything well. So I think for you, Diaz, don't wait until the customer is angry. You apologize, ask her what you can do. But if she's not or he's not satisfied, give it away to your supervisor, because that means you're not capable to handle it. You need somebody else that is more capable to handle it. Because it's not your fault. That means your company or the organizations that you're working for hasn't provided you with the right trainings, and they haven't taken care of your needs. Because based on my experience working for HR for 15 years and also learning about leadership, a good customer service can be provided only when the employees are taken care very well. So when your company cannot take care of their employees' well-being well, they cannot give the customers the same level of well-being that the customers need. So number one, take care of your employees, take care of your employees, take care of your employees. And then number two, take care of your customer. Not take care of the customer first. That's the wrong way. Employees' well-being should be the company's priority. So if you don't feel that your supervisor or your HR manager or your CEO is taking good care of you, complain, ask more, demand, because you cannot take care of your customers when you're not taking care of theirs. That's the mistake that I've seen with the organizations. And the strength of the organizations that have 6,000 employees and that have been surviving for 60 years and even making profits, high of profits during pandemic, is that they treat the employees like family. And they're like long-term employees for 60 years, 50 years, 20 years. Even the new ones, they're treated like queens and kings. So that's how you need to feel first before you meet your customers. I think, I'm sorry I have to, but because Pipit just asked that question, that made me remember my experience when my father fell. Yeah. So thank you. Back to you, Diaz.
Thank you, Mbak Mita. So I think can we take photos with our books?
Yes. Everyone ready? Yeah, let me. Dia's not ready yet. One. Wait, bentar. One, two. One more time, just in case. One. Yes, we cannot see the book. Yeah, okay. Okay. Too bright, too bright. Okay. Reduce the brightness.
Pipit, how come your title World War II, you can read it, but not mine?
No, I could not read Diaz just now. Okay, one, two. Got it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. So it's 3 o'clock. I think we finish before, and I think Pipit also have another meeting after this. Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Donald. Thank you, Pipit. Thank you, Mbak Mita, for coming to this session. And then for next month, September, will we have on 7th?
Usually second week, second
Oh,
Saturday.
Fourteen.
Usually.
7, so meaning 14, yeah?
Hmm.
14 September. Okay. I'll try to make another day off just like today, so then I can come with you guys to the next sessions as well. So thank you. Thank you, Bu Brewer. Thank you.
Dirgahayu
Thank you,
RI, Happy
Dia.
Yes.
Independence
Dirgahayu RI.
Day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye.
great weekend.